All right, so today I want you to use this visual reference as your still life, okay? So you're gonna draw the cone, the sphere, the cube, and the cylinder. Now, hopefully you've printed this out. You could always look at the computer and draw it from the computer. But if you printed this out, you can absolutely use the tricks I've taught you. And I can kind of see here, I'm going to come along and put graphite down where my corners are. And I actually need to get a ruler, which of course I didn't bring over here. And then I'm going to line up a blank piece of paper. And I'm going to line up the paper with it, like line it up at the edges, okay? And then I can come along here, put down some pressure, and do the same over here. All right. See? Haha. Of course somebody calls. Just a moment. All right, so I just did that, and now I'm going to be clever and take my pencil, and I'm going to do the same thing for all of these guys. And I'm going to time lapse this so you can see me go faster, okay? All right, so what I just did was I transferred the still life onto this piece of paper. And now I can focus on valuing, and that'll take a lot of time, which I will time lapse in just a little bit, okay? But now my objects are placed. If for some reason you're not into doing this, which really I feel like I'm giving you the answers to the test when it comes to just drawing correctly, there's other ways you can do this too. So this is a square. You could slice this square into 4, like this. And then on my paper here, I could slice this into 4. Kind of like that. And then now I can look, okay, well, to the right of the center is where this cube starts, and I can visualize based off of my little grid I made here where the cube is going to go. But I'm trying to give you the tricks of doing the kind of carbon tracing, kind of like putting the lead on the back, because I'm not with you, I can't see you. So I want you to feel confident in what you're drawing. So from the cube, I need to look at the cylinder. The cylinder is not at the corner. It comes over to the left a little bit, and it's pretty tall. Now the cube doesn't come all the way to the edge. It comes a little bit. And then comparing it, the cylinder to the cube, about halfway through the cube is where the bottom of the cylinder is. See that? And then I can draw the oval. So this is the more old school way, and if we were in class I maybe would have made you do it this way, but lucky you, we're not in class. So the bottom of the sphere goes a little bit below the halfway mark on the cube, so like right here. So I draw a straight line so I know where this should go. Then I use the negative space here to help me decide where the sphere should go behind the cube. And you can draw on top because we can erase stuff. Then the sphere is not as tall as the cylinder. So I'm going to draw a straight line over here. And then I do this. There's my sphere. And then the sphere in relation to the cone. the cone, actually I'm using the cube again. So the cone, if I draw a straight line here, goes to the corner of the cube. So if I draw a straight line from the cube over, I can draw this. I need to think about the spacing here. Right around here. And this curves. So see, I feel like this is a little bit more difficult. It's almost as tall as the cube. So this is how you could draw it if you wanted to. This is called drawing from life, or you don't use any tricks. So there's that too. Okay, and then I can come in and value. So either way you do it, draw it from life, or if you carbon it, which is with the pencil transfer, either way. As long as you have the right proportions, as long as your cube's not the biggest thing, as long as your cylinder's the tallest thing, as long as the sphere is sort of kind of in the center, we will be good. And now it's time to value. So I'm going to start with a 2H, and I'm just going to really do a foundational value on almost everything. So stay tuned. All right, so I would call this my foundation values. I just took a 2H pencil and I valued all the objects first, but I kept in mind that this is light, medium, dark, valued all this. So everything has a value, even if it looks like it's light, it still has a value, okay? Now it's very scribbly, and you can see where I have lines and gaps and things, okay? But your first layer is always gonna look like this. And then I'm gonna up the ante and change my pencils, do lots and lots of layers. Don't forget the background. You do need to do the background because that enhances the objects. So like for example here on the cone, this is actually, the cone is actually lighter than the background. So on the drawing, I'm gonna have to make the background darker and then fade out. I don't want it to be an outline, I want it to just fade. And I'm making the cone lighter by making the background darker. And then to smooth it out, you can do your small circles, you can change directions. This is definitely a Zen project. So find a spot that's comfortable in your house and try to have a therapeutic moment and just value. Okay, and I'd fade that out eventually. So I'm gonna time lapse this, and maybe a couple of time lapses because it's the end of the day today for me. And then hopefully you'll see the end product soon. Alright, so I wanted to show you. This can be super tricky when you're trying to, so if you look here, the background is obviously darker than the sphere, but over here, the cone is darker than the background. So from here to here, I have to transition really, really fast from this shadow into being a light value. And the way to do it is to really start off light, and then as you come closer, you can then add more layers. You don't want it to be an outline because we are going for realism right here. We're trying to make it look realistic. but then you can blend back and forth. And then see here it gets a little tricky because it goes from the sphere's white, the background's dark, to the background's light, the sphere's dark. So from here to here I have to do that too. So these are really advanced thoughts for visual art for our first class. I want you just to try your best. But I went ahead and decided to explain this to you because if we were in person and if I was able to really be here to help you, I would be showing you these individually if you needed them. So I'm going to go ahead and make this look a little bit darker. But then I feel like this sphere needs to be a little bit bigger. Here, there we go. Then I gotta transition my sphere here. And you can't tell, but I'm actually lifting off the paper. So like down here, I was pushing down just a little bit, and then as I go up, I lift off the paper. Like I'm barely touching the paper right there. And that's always hard to explain, but anyways, I'm gonna go back to time lapsing. I hope you're having a Zen moment and relaxing.